Hey guys, how's it going? It is seed starting day. So excited. I love starting seeds. I find it very relaxing. A lot of people find it tedious. I actually enjoy the act of starting seeds. Usually, if I'm not doing it for a video, I can just throw on some music, throw on my headphones, start some seeds, listen to a podcast, listen to somebody on YouTube, listen to some good music, and just zone out for a while. And I love that. I love that about starting seeds. So I'm very excited because I haven't started seeds since my mom was here last, and that was a fail. So we're going a different route with seed starting today. My plan is to start everything the way I normally do in my Bootstrap seed trays. Not a sponsored video, by the way. And so my plan is to start all my seeds in these trays. These are the 72 cell count trays. I love them. I've been using them for many years now, 5 years, I think at this point. I've been buying Bootstrap. I love them. They're sturdy. They're very strong, very useful. My plan is to start them in these, and then I'm going to pot them up into the 4x4 cells after they start to sprout. I prefer the 4x4 cells, but I'm limited on space right now. And I've been doing experiments where I've been trying to see if I really needed seed starting lights, grow lights to start my seeds. And for me, yes, it turns out I do need them. So my plan is to get these filled, put my seeds in them, and they're gonna go under some grow lights. I have a wire rack that has my grow lights permanently attached to it, and then I use my seed ignore Mr. Frog. He's been very vocal today. And then I use the rack on the off season as a storage rack, and then I'll clear everything off. And I'm just using one shelf. I'm doing 2 trays right now, and that is it until we get into springtime and I need to start some other stuff. I won't be using the rest of the rack. I'm getting so distracted by him. Okay, we're gonna start seeds. Let me show you guys what I'm gonna start because I'm very excited about it, and let me show you guys the failed seeds. It's a bummer. So these are the seeds that I started in the 4x4 cells. I love the 4x4 cells because it buys me a little bit of time in between things drying out. The problem is I wasn't consistent about watering, and they sat in too much sun, and they just they kind of burned, or they just dried out too fast. So it didn't work out for me. In this entire thing, what I got was some alyssum in one tray that grew. This is the tall alyssum white, and a random seedling. I have no clue who that is. So that popped up. That actually might be a foxglove, because that is a foxglove, I think. Or these could just be random seeds. And then nothing. Pretty much empty. Over there, I did have this showed up. That's great. I think these are pansies. Oh, these are foxgloves. So these are pecan foxglove. I have 3 of them. I'm going to start more, and they're just going to go under grow lights. Nothing, and a little tiny bit of the poppies, black peony. So we're starting over, and we're doing it the correct way. Under grow lights. That's the only way I want to do it. I have my tags. I buy these in bulk. They're super cheap, very affordable. Recommend those. And then I highly recommend you get the Artline garden marker. This is the best garden marker. I prefer the fine tip. They do make it in a bolder tip. I have really sloppy handwriting, so I prefer this one that's fine, so I can actually partially read my writing. We're going to be doing foxgloves. This is a mix right here. And then we're going to be doing Dusty Miller. This is called Silver Dust. It sounds like drugs. I don't know. And then I'm going to be doing some, what is this? Forget-me-nots. And this was sent to me by a friend, Carmen. And so very excited to start those. These are more foxgloves. I have them in 2 different colors. And these are ones that I had started, and they just didn't. Wait. Camelot Rose. Okay, yeah. So Camelot Rose and then Dalmatian Peach. We'll be starting those. I'm going to start some poppies, and then snapdragons, and some lettuce today. So I'm going to be starting a lot of certain things. Like the snapdragons, I'm going to be starting a whole row of just snapdragons. And poppies, I'll probably start 2 or 3 rows of poppies. Specifically, these ones, they're swans down. I saved seeds in 2023. They're so pretty. I love them. So we'll be starting those. Most of this I'm going to be starting a ton of. Lettuce, I would like to start a ton of lettuce. We go through a lot of lettuce. That's snapdragons. Lettuce. I would like to start a ton of lettuce. So let's get to it. We're going to fill this up with some soil. I do slightly pre-moisten my soil, and I'm just using the Happy Frog by Fox Farms. It's best if you can get your hands on it, seed starting mix. I have such a hard time getting my hands on seed starting mix, so I very often just use this because I can't find seed starting supplies. So after we get all this done though, stick around because we are going to put out my new topiary. So very excited about that. I love topiaries. I got a new topiary the other day for a really good price. I think I paid like 35 bucks for it or something like that. Killer deal. So I'm going to pop that up today also. So stay tuned because I know a lot of people don't love seed starting. It's repetitive. Okay, we're gonna make our seed tags really quickly. This is very straightforward. Writing down exactly what I'm going to be planting on these tags. It's as basic as it gets. One down, a million more to go. First tray is done and we need to move on because we're running out of daylight. So I'll do the second one off camera. You don't need to see me doing a million of the exact same seed trays or doing the exact same thing off camera or on camera. It doesn't matter. The only thing is making sure that you read your seed packets because certain things need light to germinate. So you don't want to cover them. So everything in that tray, which is my Dusty Miller, my foxgloves, and the poppies, they are not covered. So you can see these yellow dots. These are foxglove seeds, but they are what's called pelletized. And so usually they do them in a bright color. These ones have been pelletized also. You can see those little white dots right there. Those are also foxgloves. I wish that they would pelletize poppy seeds, but with pelletized seeds, they're usually a bit more expensive and you need to use them in the first year. And anything that's pelletized usually requires light to germinate. So the coating washes off usually as you spray everything down and get it wet. So first tray is done. Everything that's there needs light to germinate. So these will get as close as I can to the grow lights and that'll help aid that. And then the rest of these can be covered. I can't remember if snapdragons, I'll have to read my seed packet. But usually it says like, do not cover back. So it says light is required for germination. So we want to make sure that these ones don't get covered, but like things like your lettuce, you want to cover. And the rule of thumb with seeds is usually you want to have your hole be twice the depth that the seed is. So usually things that have teeny tiny seeds like snapdragons, poppies, and foxgloves, their seeds are so tiny so they don't require any soil being over them because the light will help germinate. So read your seed packets, make sure. That is one of the reasons that I really prefer to order from Johnny's, is because it gives a ton of information. So I do prefer to order seeds from there. The only problem is like you have to know what you're ordering, where like, you know, you order from Baker's Creek or from Baker Creek and you get the photo so you know exactly what you're growing, but sometimes it doesn't give all of the information. Ignore the dangling dog hair at the top. Sometimes it doesn't give all the information, so that is kind of a problem. So I do prefer Johnny's, but then you have to know exactly what it is that you bought. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to the back. So we're in the back and I have these larkspur that I just put into this ground. So I'm going to dig these guys out really quickly and we're going to move them to this bed back here where they can grow and they'll be much happier. So they can grow back there all by themselves. And then in this container is where that topiary is going to go. This is the cut flower garden and it's not cut flower, but I just felt like it really would be just perfect back here. I don't know, add a sense of like magic back here, a little touch of whimsy. Oh my God, my strawberry. Hold on. Is it ready? It'll be ready tomorrow. Oh, I should put a cage over that. I should hide that. There we go. Hopefully no slugs or birds find that one. Oh, here we go. Okay, digging these up really, really quickly because this is going to be way better for the topiary. Not sure why that one's so big, but all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these can just quickly dig holes in here. The problem is this is the chicken coop area, so everything that's here is always so dusty. Okay. Okay, let's go grab the tree that I just bought, that I can't wait to show you. So, I bought a 2-ball topiary. Oh, the pot just fell off of it. It's fine, I don't need the pot anyways. Look at this. So this is a Eugenia or a brush cherry, and they're so beautiful. Look at the new growth. It's this beautiful like orange color. So gorgeous. It's growing zones 9 through 11, so it's higher zones only. So if you are in a lower zone, I am sorry, higher zones only. But it's a full sun lover, so for those of you in, my growing zones and higher, this is one for you. Beautiful, beautiful plant. 15 to 20 feet tall, 8 feet wide, so it gets a really good size. Perfect for landscapes. Beautiful new color. You can prune on it. I have a spiral topiary of this exact plant, and now I have a 2-ball. I think I have a 3-ball, which is the plant that you can see up against the house right there where my cheek just touched. I think that's what it is. I think when I bought it, I think it said it was a myrtle, but I don't know anything about myrtle topiaries or if this is also a myrtle. Let me know in the comments below. Eugenia, brush cherry, beautiful plant, and it gets gorgeous berries. My spiral has berries on it, and it is so, so pretty. So I cannot wait to have this back here. I think that this is going to be a nice like anchoring piece back here. I really did want this entire area to be cut flowers, but it's okay. Okay, I looked it up from the queen of myrtle topiaries. So I went to Linda Vodder's YouTube, and I just did a quick search. Eugenia versus myrtle, are they the same? And so Eugenia is technically, yes, the same. They are in the same family. It's a genus of myrtle, so it is a myrtle, but there are some differences between them, and one is usually the size. So myrtle is usually a bit harder to find. Eugenia is easier to find, and you can usually find Eugenia, I think I'm saying that right, Eugenia at like Home Depot, Lowe's, big box stores, things like that, where myrtle is usually not found so easily. So myrtle topiaries, they're usually much smaller. She said that they're easier, you find them mostly for tabletops, so very small, and they're usually found at like florists, and they're usually found at like specialty nurseries, and they're usually much, much, much more expensive. So this one was very affordable. I think I paid like $34 for it or something like that, 32 bucks for a beautiful 2-ball topiary. Not mad at that. Where I don't think I've seen a true myrtle topiary, like a 1-ball or 2-ball or anything like that of a myrtle before. And I think I remember I was really wanting to get into them, and I didn't have any luck finding them. And I found them online, and they were going for like $150 for like a teeny tiny tabletop. And I was like, I don't know about that. So I guess I'm going to stick with Eugenia because you can get a way better price, and it has the same exact like vibe to it. And I prefer bigger. I don't do well with tabletop things. I don't do well with having to remember to water anything. So anything I can hook up on drip that has big impact, I'm all about it. Let's get this planted back here because it's going to be so, so nice. I think that's going to be so gorgeous right there. And it's probably not going to end up living back here forever. But I do think through the winter months, because it is an evergreen, that this is going to really just be a nice, like, interesting piece. I am thinking that as we get into colder months, so anytime we hit like a 32-degree night, I'll come out with some frost cloth and just cover it just to be safe. I really don't want it to die, so I will cover it should it need it. So let's get this planted because I just think that's gonna add so much charm to this space back here. Some much needed charm at least. Are you kidding me? Oh man, it might live here. It really just might live here. That is so, so beautiful. I could totally envision that with some type of ground cover. Wow, yeah, no, it needs something in there. It needs ground cover, or if I went in with like a light layer of like rocks on there, like pebbles, that would be so pretty. I see Linda Vaughter doing it all the time. I used to do it all the time too, and I don't know why I stopped. So I might go back and I'll have to pick some up. I don't have any, but I just think that that would be so cute. Some pebbles in there with that. Oh man. Yeah, no, it definitely needed that little touch of formality. That is so perfect. Okay, we're gonna go inside now, and I'm going to show you guys my grow light setup. And it's also where I ship all of my merchandise from, so just ignore that. In the off seasons, it's where I grow my seeds. So I'm gonna show you guys my setup for that, and I will make sure that all of the stuff that I use for my grow lights is linked in the description down below. That turned out so good. Oh my gosh, I wish it was a 3-ball. It's perfect. It's really perfect. I'm very, very pleased with it. Let's go inside and put that one tray that I finished because I'm running out of daylight anyways. So let's go inside now. Okay, we are inside now, and this is my grow light setup. So my seed trays here, I'm gonna put a humidity dome over them. They're gonna go here. I use books because my shelves don't move. If you have shelves that move, that's better. I have different spacing on all of my shelves, so you can see this one's pretty close, this one's pretty far, close, and it's just for me to be able to, like, this is usually where seeds start out, is on these bottom two, and then they move here, and I can put, like, you know, totes or whatever to raise them up. So Bootstrap has these super handy dandy humidity domes that make my life easy because I forget to water. This buys me an extra couple days. I put these on here. It helps keep the moisture in and I don't have to worry about it. And then this will just sit on top of these books to keep them as close to these lights as possible. I have 3 LED lights and they're just zip tied to this baker rack right here. This is where I keep my seeds. This is where I keep my water. And then I use a jug and I can just refill the water as needed. So let me put these on here and I'll show you guys. So just like that, these are going to sit as close to these lights as possible. I've got 2 books under each of these, so that way it just raises it up, gets them as close, because some of these need lights to germinate. And then I can pop this up, and then I just go in and I add water to the side here, and I bottom water all of my little seedlings. So this is the best way I found doing it. Seed trays inside. I direct sow nothing. I just don't do it. I have terrible luck with it. So this is the way I do everything, even my zinnias and sunflowers, because I just don't have good luck starting anything from seed outdoors. So that is how I start all of my seeds. Indoors, under grow lights, I just have the best luck with it that way. I know a lot of people direct sow things, or they do the winter sowing method. You do milk jugs and you can grow things inside milk jugs and you keep the tops off. I think that's fabulous if you get snow or whatever. I don't get snow. I don't get enough rain. My seedlings will dry out. So I even tried the summertime or late summer, early spring to put some of my seedlings in trays and grow them outside to see if I could do it without grow lights. Yes-ish. You have to be so much more attentive to them, I think. So I think grow lights is just hands off. If you can just buy, you know, a few grow lights, a couple of them, a set of 3, and you can do this under a rack or over a tray or something like that. I'm sure you can find like a tabletop just during the winter months that these could go in. So that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I'm so pleased with that topiary that we got planted back there. That just like transformed that area. It was needed. So thank you guys for visiting our garden. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.